Greetings, Commanders. We are going to have a little fun this Friday, and we could use your help. We're going to try and organize a major mass drop from Glide event in the context of the little series of events that have followed the siege of Titan Haddad and the consequent discussion around the core crimes that allegedly have been committed, some would argue, or some would argue they haven't. And so we are effectively shooting a little elite-based film, and we love the community's support in organizing what is to be hopefully a pretty landmark scene of that short film. So what are we going to do? We're going to meet on Friday at 1800 hours Universal Time Coordinated, which is 2 p.m. US Eastern Time or 11 a.m. US Pacific Time. And hopefully, if you live in Europe, you can convert that to your local European time. Same for Asia. There's going to be some hostile actions towards Aegis. We'll get to that in a moment. So if you are friendly to Aegis, lore-wise in-game, or otherwise if you support their pesky NPCs instead of Pilot Federation commanders, you may want to skip this event. However, if you support Pilot Federation commanders and glory to mankind, this is something you may want to participate in. We will be meeting just above Aloisio Hold, which is a maximum security fortress position on the surface of, I'm not sure I can pronounce it correctly, Git ex Sante A2D. Anyway, it's written here, even though my pronunciation skills are lacking. We will be in the Xenostrike Force private group, which is an open group that anyone who wants to participate in the event can automatically join. If you request to join, you will be automatically accepted. There's actually an account name of a commander called Xenostrike Force. So you can search for a commander name called Xenostrike Force and request to join the private group, and you will be automatically accepted, much like the private group of the Anti-Xeno Initiative for reference. Again, this will be Friday at 1800 hours UTC. We ask that you come with pretty much any ship you want. The Xenostrike Force uses the tactical graphite as a livery, but again, we're not asking that anybody buy specific paint jobs just for this event. Come as you are. If you have tactical graphite, or if you have a ship that roughly looks black, that'd be preferred, simply since it sticks with the theme. But since this is kind of a big event, really anything you got goes. And we ask that you bring missiles, since after the mass drop-in, we may want to see how a major orbital bombardment of a major facility actually looks like on tape, but more on that later. We will also be live streaming on YouTube for coordination with all commanders that are following, and we'll be using local and system chat as needed. So how is this going to work? Well, we're going to line up in tight proximity, 90 kilometers just above the target location. So there's some details here that explain exactly how to do it. Don't worry about it. It sounds complicated, but it's actually pretty simple. Once you get there, you kind of drop in on an anchor, and we'll get to that in a moment, and things will kind of more or less sort themselves out. But generally, you want to be at 75 kilometer altitude at exactly 90.0 kilometer range from the facility. If you want to navigate yourself without using an anchor, here are the latitudes and longitudes are also listed on the screen, but chances are you're not going to need those because you can drop in on your anchor and you don't need to navigate. You're going to point at a 264-degree heading, which is where the facility will be located if we position ourselves correctly. And then from a roll aspect of the ship, you want the final D in the hold name of a location to be touching the 55-degree line in the sort of in the angle of pitch indicator. And essentially, you want to be pointing straight at the target at that angle. The process is a bit complicated, and here I'm going to sort of hide myself so that we can actually show the screen because there's some meaningful information to explain. There's essentially two roles in setting this up. There's anchors in this drop-ins. Each wing obviously needs an anchor. So 1 out of 4 commanders in each instance is going to be an anchor. And then 3 out of 4 commanders are going to be the drop-ins, which are the ones that actually drop from Glide as part of this event in the process. The anchors will be creating the initial drop point or mustering point at the 90 kilometers of altitude we were talking about a moment earlier. Anchors are also responsible for assembling wings. If you need a wing, which you probably will, because you want to be in a wing for this event, you should ask in system chat or local chat, or you can also use YouTube chat if needed, and we'll do our best to get you a wing invite so you can wing up and sync. The reason we need wings is because if you are in a wing with someone, the game will actively put you in the same instance. If you are not, instead, it will try to distribute load across different servers and split the instances up. So since we want everybody to actually land in the same instance, we're using wings and anchors to accomplish that. After we finish mustering and everybody, or hopefully most everybody, is in a wing lined up properly and ready for glide in, the anchors, and only the anchors, are going to drop down to a target site and remain in their original wing. Once they are down at the target site 90 kilometers below, we'll give a local chat call to start charging FSDs, but at 0 throttle. What that will accomplish is that everybody FSDs is going to end up being essentially fully charged at the same time, because the FSD will not engage while you are at 0 throttle. Once a reasonable amount of time has passed, shortly thereafter, we'll give a local chat call, or system chat call, actually probably more realistically, to boost and set your thrust to 100%. That will result in your FSD kicking in automatically just a moment later. At this point, you should be at the sort of attitude that we talked about a moment earlier and pointing straight down to the Aloysius Hold destination. After that, you should not touch your controls at all until glide ends, except potentially for correcting your course if you somehow misaligned and are going completely off target. That should allow us to get as many people gliding in at the shortest amount of time possible, which hopefully results in a visually stunning outcome that the anchors that have dropped down below will be capturing on camera. So that's a process, and that's how this is all supposed to work. There's a few disclaimers. Again, I'll sort of hide my webcam overlay so that people can actually read the disclaimers. First and foremost, this is meant to record video that is meant to be used in an elite short film. So if you're uncomfortable being on camera and with your likeliness or ship being used in such a context, don't come, as that's why we're doing this. The actions that we will be taking, lore-wise, are actively hostile to Aegis. And some could argue potentially in-game illegal. So depending on how you feel about Aegis and the events that surround the fall of Titan Haddad, you may want to sit this one out, or you may want to join, like depending again on where you stand on the issues at hand. So if you support the Pilot Federation over Aegis and its pesky NPCs that got so many of our folks killed during the retreat of forces during the meltdown of Titan Haddad, we'd be delighted to have you. And that's it, really. Hope to see you on Friday. I think it will be a fun, glorious event that hopefully can get a very significant number of commanders to drop in into what will be just epic scene if all goes out. Or it will be a complete disaster and a total mess if things turn out as occasionally they turn out in this game. But we will do our best to make them look awesome. Thank you for your support, and glory to mankind. Commander Meccan, over and out.